What up? What up? I'm going to go refill my coffee. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm not quite sure what they're yelling. It's good to see you, Cindy. All right, so it looks like there is a verdict. So jurors have reached a verdict in the Karen retrial.
You know what I mean? She didn't even get to mourn John's death. You know what I mean? Maybe now she'll be able to. And you know what I said, and I meant it, and every day, John O'Keefe said Karen Reed free himself. Amen. Free Karen.
Thank you for your time. Yeah. Swivel over this way. We'll continue to show you what things like this is some of the different vehicles that have come by that are likely for Karen Reed's legal team. We have seen them enter and exit in and out of these trucks and make their way into the courthouse over the last several days and weeks for that matter. We are still waiting for a press conference to take place here. It doesn't seem that much of anybody has left. As we continue to look at how big the crowds are here, folks are standing by. I think they are waiting to find out what is to be said in this press conference. I think after you go through something like this, if you are a supporter, you want to see it through. And so, yes, we do have a verdict here, but I think they're anticipating what it is that Karen is going to be saying and that of her legal team as well. So we'll continue to stand by here on scene. But the feeling,
Can you guys hear that okay?
Like Melody said, that of a concert or a championship had been won just outside of this courthouse where it is organized. And you see some of the barriers here that are set up, keeping people out.
All right, it says here, Reed acquitted of all charges except OUI.
To take place. But we have heard chants of free Karen. Karen is free. And those
is that operating
again, this
while
is
intoxicated?
Outside of the courthouse, we'll continue to keep an eye on things as we wait again for that press conference to take place.
Malcolm, thank you. We appreciate that. We're going to have to assume that until we see otherwise, that those of the family and friends and loved ones of John O'Keefe are not going to go out that front door to go in front of that crowd. I know I myself would not want to walk down those stairs in front of that crowd when you have to leave knowing at this point it appears that no one will be held responsible for their son, their family members.
Yeah, I'm not surprised either. I thought they would get her on the manslaughter, but apparently her attorneys were pretty good.
We saw David Yannetti, one of her defense attorneys, with some tears in his eyes.
And will not be facing jail time.
Who was right there at the moment. We have our courtroom insiders who.
All right, it says here, Reed was only found guilty of one lesser offense, including under the second charge, and will not be facing jail time.
When we were called in and told that there was a verdict slip, but then there wasn't a verdict slip, that the jury had come to a decision, but then they didn't. But then we were just asked to wait outside and they would let us know if there was going to indeed be a verdict. Then we all went in. We were asked to leave all of our bags outside the courtroom. The court officers allowed more press than usual in.
You know what really sucks about this situation is that we all know that she hit John O'Keefe, right? But now nobody's going to proceed. Nobody's going to pursue the truth. John will never have justice now. So instead of looking for what might have actually happened, now that she's been acquitted, it's like we all know that she's guilty and was acquitted. So John gets no justice. It's basically over.
So all of that pent-up energy waiting to see.
Yep, reasonable doubt. They did great.
Of course, it's always so
kudos to her attorneys.
Anticlimactic and a little clumsy because it's not a television show; it's real life. And the foreman said, "Sure."
And Karen, the majority of people are just like the majority of true crime viewers. They have a distrust in law enforcement, so I guarantee they were biased.
Here that as the
there's no such thing as a justice system
inside the courtroom, but we did
either way you look at it, right?
Came back not guilty,
even if she was guilty or not guilty, there's just no justice.
Business as usual. As what happens, the jurors leaves. The judge Beverly Canoni asks if they'd like to set a date for the sentencing hearing. Special prosecutor Hank Brennan said, no, we can do it now. And of course, like everything else in this trial, from beginning to end, both trials, there was a sidebar. So they had a sidebar, and the sentence, again, we didn't hear it because it was so loud outside, but just basically an emergence of crazy energy. The O'Keefe family had left.
I think they probably thought accidental too, and didn't want her behind bars for it.
Across this street somehow to get over here, but as Malcolm has been reported.
The only problem is with that, Cindy, if you're drinking and driving, you're making a choice. So that reckless disregard is the cause for the murder. So it's really not accidental. The choice to drink and drive was the very choice that killed him.
You mentioned they kind of left the courthouse quickly.
Reed acquitted of all charges except OUI.
When the verdict was read.
No jail time.
No, I couldn't, Glenn. I was behind them. I did see them as they were walking out of the courtroom. But I will say that since the first question, the questions came from the jury yesterday, they definitely have felt.
So the jury's thinking right now, well, she might have been set up, but now that she's acquitted, nobody's going to check if she was actually set up. Nobody cares because they know deep down that she hit him. There's just not enough evidence. And there's just plenty of doubt. But nobody's going to pursue that theory. Nobody's going to go out and research it. Nobody's going to do any sleuthing to see who actually killed John and who put all the plastic out there in the snow and all of that stuff. Nobody cares anymore. So she's not going to be doing any jail time at all. Operating under the influence. Curious. J Ray, she got a year of probation and she's got to do a 24D program. Reasonable doubt on the actual hitting him. Yep.
We finally understood that manslaughter was not guilty, which is what you're referring to. And remember, this is an opportunity for us to look at our legal system. We're just citizens trying to figure out how to fill out a verdict slip, and it was really difficult to do. Maybe we should do something about it. Just a thought. But yes, it was finally like that. OUI was the final part of it. And I'll say the jurors' reactions. I mean, we have to give our great thanks to these jurors and the alternates. They look tired. They look stressed. A couple of the jurors more on the older side. Remember, this is a young jury. I don't think anybody was over 50. Two of the women on the jury who had taken a lot of notes, they looked emotional and
Listen
sad.
to these crazy people.
And one juror was smiling, and the others just looked completely relieved. So remember, they had a heavy burden to carry in this, and they're just citizens like you and me. Glenn and JC?
You know, we talked a little bit about this last night on Canton Confidential. If this was the result in this trial, the second of two.
See, the conversation is, well, they don't have enough evidence to prove that she hit him. The conversation is that she was set up by police and framed. That's what these people that are cheering out there, they believe that she was framed by police. But after this, nobody's going to go looking to see if the police actually framed her. It's just going to act like it, they're just going to act like it never happened. And we win. Go team, go.
State scientists work for the state. All of this money that was spent on this case, as it should be, as we would all want the money not to be a barrier to solve the murder or death of our loved one. But at the same time,
Justice for John is what they're chanting. They're yelling justice for John and things like, now go find the real killers. So acquitting Karen Reed for them is real justice for John.
I was trying to get across the street, but I imagine what we'll see, like we did last time and often at trials, is there'll be a press release sent out by District Attorney Morrissey's office that will give us more information about what they feel. But for all intents and purposes, in reality, any way you want to slice it, this case is done. The sentencing is done, and that's it. I mean, it's just a very abrupt end to such a complicated, and it was complicated until the very end, the very last day. Verdict, no verdict.
Lock up
and then,
Jen.
a flub reading the verdict at the end, but it's done right now.
Yeah, I think that's
Well,
a good way to describe it.
in
So
my
it doesn't-
opinion, this is the very reason that a psychopath might instantly try to create a narrative, right? I'm not going to accept punishment for what I've done. It was an accident. Therefore, from this point on, I'm going to devote all of my time and effort to not going to prison for the rest of my life. And what you're seeing is a byproduct of the people who kind of fell victim to her manipulation. And it worked. This is very similar for me to like the West Memphis Three. You create this media circus and you can actually influence the case in real time and change the outcome. Yeah, there's no such thing as a justice system. Yep, absolutely, Cindy. You know, he made that decision and his decision killed your friend's son. And I'm definitely sorry to hear that. But it was that decision to race that other vehicle that killed him. That reckless disregard for human life.
Sidewalk to all the way to the middle of High Street here. They're chanting, Bev needs to go, lock up Jen, where is Chloe? And they, as you guys heard earlier, they're chanting and singing the national anthem. We've heard tears, laughter, people hugging, and we have some people here to give us some reaction. We'll start with you, Bella. What is your reaction to just the result that we've heard here?
It's just justice for John, justice for Karen, justice for the Plymouth District County, or Norfolk. It's amazing. It's well deserved.
I'm so happy that we got a verdict. We still need justice for John, though, and we need to still investigate as a society, like what is happening with the police stuff as we go forward.
See, they believe that the police killed him. These crazy people out here believe that Karen is innocent and the police inside killed John and attacked him with the dog. So they think by her being acquitted that all of that stuff is true now. They believe in their heart that they're true, that's their truth, and that the defense's narrative is now factually proven because Karen was acquitted. They still believe that she was set up by law enforcement that lived in that home. They can't accept the fact that there just wasn't enough evidence to convict her. Translation for them is, see, she was set up by law enforcement. They killed John. How ridiculous is that? Yeah, of course he's saying that. Nobody's going to do anything about it. That's just empty talk. This case is over because police did not set him up. They just didn't. She most likely hit him. There's just not enough evidence to prove it, apparently, for this jury. That's the end of the story. But those officers did not set her up. But because she's been acquitted, that narrative now will be what's going to echo. Nobody's going to investigate it. Nobody's going to search for it. Nobody's going to look into justice for John O'Keefe. They're not. They don't care. Because John O'Keefe he's a police officer. They don't care about him anyway. He's just one of them. They don't have any sympathy for him. Also, you can't take away from the investigative team that did a horribly shitty investigation. They didn't do a very good job. So you add that with the doubt created by the defense, and this is your outcome. But that does not mean that the police officers that lived in that home set up Karen Reed. The truth is she most likely hit him, and he will never have justice. There will never be justice for John. And the people who are supporting Karen Reed don't care about that at all. He's just another cop at a home filled with cops. He should have known better. If you're going to be a cop, that's what you're going to get. These people hate law enforcement, and he was a police officer. And he's just part of the same crew that's setting up Karen Reed.
Yes and no. I was on her all day today, yes.
What did you think about the decision?
Absolutely fabulous. It's about time that the Commonwealth gets it right.
Were you surprised, or did you think this was what would happen?
I actually had a really good feeling about it, but with
Oh yeah, they don't care about her either.
Whichever one, I thought it was going to get hung up on that again. And
She's just where you measure
I'm so excited. I can't even think right
the
now.
consensus of whatever cult you've joined.
What do you think the difference was between this trial and the last one?
I think they told a better story. It was more concise and it was easier to follow. So I think the defense team did a really thoughtful and thorough job.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Loxy. It just wasn't enough. And the fact that it was a horrible investigation, you add in the fact that the defense created a pretty good dose of doubt.
Hope to never see him in the courtroom.
It just wasn't enough.
You know, it's funny. I've heard that from a couple.
And then all of the circus helped Karen as well.
A little bit about, now I've heard the crowd was chanting John O'Keefe. I mean, we still don't know. There's been nobody's been held accountable for his death. What do you think about that? Do you think someone ever will be?
That's terrible.
That's terrible that nobody's been held accountable, but we're hoping that somebody's going to be held accountable. Now we're hoping that that's the next step.
Who's going to be held accountable?
Who did this to John O'Keefe? Because we are here.
There's only one person. That's Karen Reed.
And this was the first step. Yeah,
It's over. There's no justice for John. That's just the bottom line. Yeah, if they would have conducted a better investigation, yeah, for sure. Look, they're cheering her like a rock star.
Okay, John Maroney, thank you very much. Emerging from the courthouse, you see Alan Jackson there and Karen Reed holding her right hand over her heart as they look out to the crowd. The other times that they've left the courthouse over the last few days, it's been the silence. They've been encouraging the crowd not to make noise so that they don't disturb the
Yeah,
jury
she's got great
deliberations.
attorneys. The way that they played into the circus was magnificent.
She has been acquitted of all of the
Baldwin and Rosie should be taking notes.
convicted only of a lesser included.
Financially, and more importantly, emotionally, for almost 4 years. And the second thing I want to say is no one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have, and my team. Thank you.
No, the case cannot be reopened. This case is over.
With new evidence, it could be opened.
I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it to Karen and her dad. Her dad has a comment. Let her dad make the comment.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. I want to acknowledge the strength of our daughter Karen.
Harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have. Thank you.
No, the case cannot be reopened. This case is over. No, I mean, the case is larger.
No, they can open the case against her again if they have new evidence.
I'm going to leave it to Karen and her dad. Her dad has a comment. Let her dad make the comment.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. I want to acknowledge the strength of our daughter Karen. The support of.
This is going to be a lot like the O.J. Simpson trial, where she's going to come out later and give hints that she did do it.
The greatest team of attorneys. Our first one that we found was David Yannetti.
Yep. Double jeopardy does not include new evidence, though.
Bob Alessi, you know about. All right. It was a fantastic team, but we needed them all to defeat this. We thank everybody for their support from the heart. We love you all of the content providers who have spread the word. Thank you so much. God bless you all. The investigation. Let's do this.
I don't know who looked happier there, David Yannetti pumping his fists in the air or Mr. Mr. Reed, Karen's dad,
William Reed, yeah.
who just said he acknowledged the strength of our daughter, support from Reed's extended family.
Yeah, that's
which
crazy.
implied really every-
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it. That's the end of another true crime saga. There will be no justice for John O'Keefe. That's it. We all know that Karen hit him, but we also know that there was not enough evidence and just the right amount of doubt to where they could not put her in prison. But we all know what happened, and we know that she was not set up by those police that lived at that home. We know that she was drunk and she hit him. That's it. That's the bottom line. But the justice system did work in the way that if there's not enough evidence to convict somebody, or if there's just the right amount of doubt, she shouldn't go to prison. So the only people to blame are the investigative team, the circus, and those sleazy defense attorneys. You know, you got to give it to them. But all right, guys, that's it. We're going to close the book on this one, and I'll see you again a little bit later in the day. We go live again. Take care of yourselves. If you're part of the replay crew, let me know what you think about Karen Reed's verdict. No justice. No such thing as a justice system. Either way, even if she was guilty, you know, it's still no justice. All right, you guys take care of yourselves.